It is time for the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine 2Go Racing on Grand Prix Sunday. Hello everyone and welcome to FRECA. It is time to continue the story here at the Red Bull Ring. One of the great racetracks, short but interesting, is the way to describe this place. And it is a venue that runs to 4.326 miles in total, or kilometers rather I should say, in total as well. We've got 30 minutes coming up for this race, and the air temperature is 18 degrees, track temperature is 22, and the humidity is at 65% at the moment. We have had quite a good day so far of feeder series racing, and I'm hoping that will continue as well with this race. Pedro Claro is on pole position. He's next to Ender Delini, who's in second place. Rashid Al-Daheri is in third, and then it's Jun Nakamura in P4. Evan Joltez in fifth, and Freddie Slater starts in P6 on the grid. That's our first three rows on the grid at the moment. And row number 4, we'll see Jack Beater next to Reno Francock continuing to impress as one of our F4 wildcards this weekend. Nand Howard Biran Bhakti is in 9th, and then it's Akshay Bora in P10. Materi Paolo is in 11th. And then in P12 it is Hayu Yamakoshi, who finds himself starting from 12th place. We've got Van Amersfoort on pole, of course, as we've already mentioned to you. And then it's Nikita Bedrin next to Dion Gouda, that's 13th and 14th. Edu Robinson is in 15th, and then we have Ekimans in 16th. Kanato Lee is in 17th, and then it's Giovanni Maschio in P18 on the grid for RPM. So an interesting row of the grid. And Frey is in 19th, and then it's Tai Takato in P20, Ricky Liu in 21st, and then it's Michael Belov in 22nd, and then Powell is in 23rd, and we have Zenari Shi in 24th place as well. Saka Almasheri is in 25th, and then it's Yaroslav Vasilaho in 26th. Edward Borna is in 27th, and then it's Tim Gerhardt in 28th place, and final car on the grid. Everyone looks on in the grandstand as we prepare for this Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine race as well. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. Of course it is. It is FRECA for a reason. So, as I was describing to you before we got to the grid, it has been quite the remarkable day of support series, of feeder series action today, and I'm hoping that it's going to continue. We've had a crazy Formula 3 race, one of the best we've ever seen, one of the most wildest, chaotic F2 races as well, and then, of course, an absolutely ludicrous race came our way in the Porsche Super Cup. So, some fantastic racing as of yet. That's at Monza. The F1 Grand Prix is taking place right now. We are at the Red Bull Ring, and we are at one of the great circuits where overtaking is easy, but judging off yesterday, not the easiest that you would expect as well. Next year, of course, we will be having this championship turn into FREC, so there will be changes coming in to play. Cars making their way through into turn number 3, and we will hope that these drivers can entertain us. Turn number 3, the part of the circuit where we had contact over here yesterday, if you remember back to that race as well. Apologies for any form of crackling that you may be seeing, as or might be hearing rather, I think is the best way to put it. That is being caused by the mic for some reason, so I don't know why that is. We'll try fix it on this formation lap. Hopefully that's fixed it. I've disconnected, basically. Just to put it into perspective, I've disconnected and reconnected everything. Maybe let's keep it a little bit away from my mouth. Maybe that might allow things to work, I think is the best way of putting this, because I realized that the mic started crackling when I was calling the championship moment for Porsche Super Cup. So, you know, that's quite annoying. That's quite annoying. If I ever want to look back at my first ever call of a Porsche Super Cup, or a second rather, because I did call last year's one, but my first as full-time lead commentator for it, then it's not going to look ideal, or not going to sound ideal rather, I think is the way of putting it. Anyway, no concern about that at the moment. Well, I mean, there is a concern. I'm hoping that it works, but in terms of the focus on the circuit, Pedro Claro on pole position, could he give Van Amersfoort a home win? That would be special, and then some, if they are able to get themselves to it. We line up on the grid then for this formation lap that will be getting underway, and it should be hopefully quite frenetic, quite tasty, and quite interesting. That's what we want from a Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine race. Cars on the grid. Nervy moments then as they prepare to go racing. Ian Ecumans, who became a rookie winner yesterday, and he will be hoping that he can get more of those type of moments. I am sure of it, as they make their way through, and they're all in position then. Let's see whether they can keep themselves pointing in the right direction. Here come the lights. Lights out! FRECA is underway at the Red Bull Ring. A good launch for Pedro Claro should mean the Van Amersfoort driver keeps the lead immediately. With a moment further back is one of the Trident cars. Not what he wanted. They try and make their way through, but in reality they're all scrambled across this road. Battle for the lead. Pedro Claro trying to defend. Enzo Dellini to the outside line. Can he fight away by? They're toe-to-toe, wheel-to-wheel, into turn 3, and Enzo Dellini looks like he's gonna get the cut back and fight down towards turn 4. It's gonna be neck and neck between the two drivers, and Enzo Dellini is gonna get edged out by Pedro Claro, who's moving through, who's taking the lead. Fantastic scenes, fantastic sights as they try and keep this one pointing in the right direction. Into turn number 6 we go. Side by side further back, that's Bedrin going for it. And Bedrin makes the move and takes the position as well. As we make our way down towards the braking zone at the moment. And they will all make it work and get through. Crazy battling towards turn number 6 on this circuit as well. What a crazy race it has been so far, as they throw it down towards turn number 1 then. 3 wide as well further back, diving to the inside, and very close to contact. That was Taito Kato, who went for a brave move that doesn't quite come off. Into the braking zone of turn number 3 we go. Plenty of late lunges, plenty of moves, and I can hear plenty of crackling from the mic as they try to keep this one pointing in the right direction. Apologies for this crackling. I don't know what is going on with this mic, whether it's a setting that has messed up. I will try and see whether we can do anything about it at the moment, but yeah, quite annoying, so apologies in regards to that. As we make our way down into turn number 1. What a race it is turning out to be. Okay, while I try to sort out my mic, I'm going to momentarily hand it down to George Morgan. Because it's going to be a pain if we do get to some exciting moments and it's crackling at every moment. Never mind. There is something definitely wrong with this bus mixer. There is definitely something wrong with this bus mixer. Apologies for this. For that loud sudden sound. Oh my word. I can only apologize. Okay. We will hand down to George Morgan. Definitely. But I'm going to do so. We're just using natural audio. I'm going to mute this microphone. So we can change it. And I'll let George Morgan call you through some of this action. Because at the moment, it is out of control. Let's see. Apologies. Pictures momentarily came on. This is quite the mess. Technology not wanting to play ball. Think it is fair to say. Sorry, apologies for that moment. Just going to get our own audio. And then I'm hoping that you'll be able to hear what you need to.
Rashid Al-Dahiri lost his car for a brief moment. Slater's now got to try and close it back up to Evan Gilbert, who is having a great race there. A much improved race this time around. Jack Beaton coming under fire also from quite sure, but either way you look at it, Jack Beaton will of course have the favourable line. Slater once again seeing Rashid Al-Dahiri behind him. Once again, it's toe-to-toe now between Bedrid. Bedrid running off wide, getting caught on the escape. And the number 7 of Nandavid Biram Bakhti able now to move alongside and through. And just look at this as well from Bedrid. Also looking to try and form up in behind also and gain another place. And almost certainly will do at this stage. It looks like for now, the Jack Beaton's managed to get off from Bedrid. Bedrid getting, I think, also a little bit caught earlier on. Remember, he was tying up with Jack Beaton at the very start of this lap. As they now swoop downwards through towards Jockenring corner and now down through towards Red Bull Mobile curve. Reno Francot also on the end of this group. Actually just showing up a 10th behind Nikita Bedrin as it stands. But these gaps are going to be maintained whilst they use the power of the slipstream, but also the push to pass that they have on offer. 5 uses of it at 10 seconds apiece. Coast uphill now. And through Remus they go. Pedro Clero now nursing a gap of 1.2 seconds, despite Delaney taking the fastest lap over the last outing. Of course, as we concluded 4 laps. So Delaney may have held the fastest lap, but it is still 1.2 seconds between the RSGP car and...
Thank you very much, George Morgan. I think we have fixed the issue. If not, we'll keep you updated with stuff, but... Yes, I think at least the issue has been fixed, so that's good. That's good. I'll keep it as backup in case we do need it. But yeah, the buzzing sound made it like absolutely crystal clear that there was some form of issue. So we'll see how the remainder of this race goes. Unfortunately, this is the final race, so it's not like I'm testing this for anything anymore either. Final race of the day, and I mean... Just take a look at my luck, everybody. The big day, which I even wore a suit for. There is a blazer, by the way. It's just too hot right now. The one day where I do also wear a suit. A big occasion for myself, calling the Porsche Super Cup Championship, having called all of the racing this season. And what happened, happened. So, yes, very fun, I know. Okay, down towards turn number 3 we go. Is there going to be any overtakes? Selling the dummy, diving down the inside. Brave stuff and then some by Bora. And then that opens the door now. Yamakoshi is alongside Bora down towards the braking zone. What about Dion Gouda? What about 3 wide? Possibly towards this part of the circuit. And Bora will maintain that position. Can he try stand on the power? Can he try do something inventive? Looking left, looking right. I'm sure he'll be trying to make his way through. It's going to be exciting, going to be thrilling, as they make their way by Dion Gouda, nearly dropping the car into the gravel trap. That would have been a terrible sight had he dropped it there. 21 minutes to go of this race. A race that is absolutely coming alive. Turns out I'm not feeling too well now after that Porsche Super Cup race for some reason. Probably after the morning that we've had. Not a surprise that I'm not feeling the best. Okay, I can hear the mic is still going and it's still having its issues. So it hasn't fixed it. So what we will do is I'll hand it back over to the world feed of George Morgan while I try to see whether there's a fix.
Young talent, and I really look forward to seeing how he blossoms now. Was brilliant in qualifying yesterday, he was brilliant in qualifying today. Obviously just trying to understand the race trim on the car, but should it remain like this, he will of course feature in the points and has got a gap of 1.5 seconds to Akshay Bora behind at the moment, and is still within a second on Nikita Bedrin as it stands. So keep your eyes on young Reno Franco before the end of the race. 20 minutes still to run, of course. Anything can happen in that vast amount of time we have left, not forgetting the additional lap that we have at the very end. Purple in the middle sector again for Pedro Clero, but it's been snatched away by Freddie Slater, who's brought the gap straight down to Evan Giltaire now. It's half a second, and the Brit is on a charge, and a 5-second time penalty for the false start for Evan Giltaire. So by default, Freddie Slater will inherit P4 regardless, as will Rashid Al-Dahiri move up a spot at the same time, not to mention a series of others further down the rostrum. That is horrendous news for Evan Giltaire, who best race in a long time, and we mentioned that he's in the shout for a podium. Well, no longer, folks. Race control have stepped in. 5 seconds will be applied to Evan Giltaire's time, so the misery continues for the young Frenchman. And now being moved up upon by Freddie Slater as they climb up through towards the precipice of this Styrian climb out of Remus corner now, and they'll take the crest as now we see some side-by-sides. Ian Eichmann's once again in the thick of the action and trying to take on the 89 of Taito Kato as they head downhill through towards Slosh Gold and then later through the middle sector of Roshan Verth Curve. It is still Clero though, 1.2 seconds ahead of Jin Nakamura, who's now a second back from Delaney at the moment. They're starting to spread out now to the top three. Further back, Evan Giltaire, 0.8 of a second away from Nakamura. Freddie Slater now the closest out of the top 5 to his next driver in front. And Rashid Al-Dahiri starting to become gapped now, and Jack Beaton, who surely looks on for a decent points finish here. And he does need it, of course, this campaign. It's been a really tough season for him, as we have already mentioned. He has taken some strong points finishes in the past, came away with 8 back at Misano. That was his highest points finish in race 1 in Italy. So it'll be a welcome return to the points equation for the man from the Gold Coast, but needs to make sure he converts it. There's Freddie Slater now. Of course, Prema have had various successes in the past at this circuit. We mentioned the likes of Frederick Vesti, twice a race winner here at this circuit, and also Gianluca Petikov, Oliver Rasmussen, and not forgetting also Rafael Camara, who went on to win the FIA Formula 3 title this season. And this is a reminder of the penalty for the false start. Let's have a look at that said start as well. Evan Giltaire, unfortunately, breaching the starting procedure. There was a car that went off very wide to the inside as well. So we now take a look at the live pictures now out on the circuit coming through Slosh Gold. Delaney now starting to be stretched. That 1.2 gap is now extended to 1.4. Nakamura still remaining 1 second behind. Giltaire now starting to be gapped now by Nakamura, and now potential fodder for Freddie Slater on track. Of course, Slater will regardless inherit the P4 position. Just see there, Slater getting that rear wing out, that rear end on that Prema car, just stepping out, coming through on the outset of the Verth Curve. So now they descend down through towards Red Bull Mobile before beginning their next lap of asking. Clero with a 1.5 second advantage now as 9 laps are concluded here at Styria as they move through turn 1. And they're all going to start to condense once again. There's Jack Beaton just ahead of the number 7. Fernando Vidbiran Bakhti, Nikita Bedrin once again in the hot seat. Reno Frankot also giving a stellar display, gapping actually Bora furthermore if you want a comparison on the laps last time out between those two. It was just over 1/10 of a second quicker on part of Reno Frankot. Trying to close down on Nikita Bedrin as you can just see them taking Remus this time. There's Akshay Bora who's got 2 Van Amersfoort cars for company that include Hiyu Yamakoshi and Dion Gouda, the top rookie for this season so far, though he has been challenged just of late with new drivers entering the fold. We mentioned, of course, Ian Eichmans, and of course now today Reno Frankot being the highest rookie, and could yet stand on the podium if he obtains that too, because of course we do celebrate the rookie race winner along with the overall podium finishes. As now they come through in towards the final sector proper. There is Rashid Al Dahiri now, just about staying within a second. Freddie Slater very much looming still on Evan Gilter, who's now beyond a second on Jin Nakamura. Through the course of this campaign, Freddie Slater recorded 5 victories earlier through the course of the season, levelling him up with Alessandro Giusti and also Martini Stenshorn and Andrea Kimi Antonelli and Hadrian David also making up a group that sits essentially 3rd in the all-time wins list, because Rafael Kamara stands alone on 9 at the moment, recording the highest number of race wins in the history of the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. Paul Aaron sitting on 8, just 1 behind him. Gregoire Saucy also on 8 wins as well. Then you've got Hadrian David, as well as Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Martini Stenshorn, Alessandro Giusti and Freddie Slater, all aligned on 5 right now. So with Slater's last win, of course, coming back in Paul Ricard in race 2, that elevated him higher than former Prema champion in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, Dino Beganovic. Of course, now very much has lately taken part in FIA Formula 2 action. So we now watch them descend once again downhill. Pedro Clero, who's had a wonderful season as well. If we look back at Zandvoort, that was really the hallmark of quality for Pedro Clero. 2 pole positions sweeping that weekend and a P2 at race 1. And race 2 taking victory. His only victory this season, but ultimately a special one for the Van Amersfoort team, being it their home race of the campaign. But since then, he has taken 2nd place at Hungaroring straight away, following suit from that victory, and it's been strong points finishes right through. Really, the only downwards one was the 1 point scored at Hungaroring. I can tell you that we just had a 10-second time penalty go into car number 3. Now that was Sakir Al-Maushari. Now this is a moment here, a replay we're just witnessing here this time, of the 96 car of Yaroslav Vasalo, now going off track at Roshenwerth curve, and now routed just 1 from bottom. Matteo De Parlo is also routed to the rear of the order as well, folks. Not quite sure what's happened there, but over the last lap he's just disappeared off.
Okay, let's try this again. Hello everyone. Hopefully the audio is now good. Hopefully everything now works. Right, that was quite the stressful time trying to fix that. What we've done is, up here in the commentary box, we've changed the plugs, or change the ports where the microphone goes to. Thank you to George Morgan for taking us through that. Matteo Di Paolo, he came into the pits, so that's what happened at the moment. I luckily had the advantage compared to George because I was literally staring up my OBS with the timings on it, so yes, that is the way it went. Freddie Slater, meanwhile, has got a chance to try and make an overtake. Can he go around the outside? Can he go down the inside? Can he just go by? I think that's a fair thing to ask, considering the type of race that he is having as well. I momentarily sat down in the commentary box because that's the only way you can actually fix your OBS settings as well. But no, do not worry, do not worry. I won't be sitting down and calling this race for you. Another thing I've noticed is the 1 lap thing is really breaking this, so I'm just going to change that around a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Live editing for you, everybody. Who doesn't like a little bit of live editing? And as I mentioned, I'm not feeling the best as well at the moment. Somehow I've got sick after Porsche Super Cups race. Maybe it's just wearing this suit or being in this heat. One of the two. Out there on the circuit we go then. Making his way through Freddie Slater with his teammate Rashid Al-Dahiri directly in behind. Can it be an overtake by Slater at any point in this race is going to be my question. And I'm sure it will be Freddie Slater's question as well to himself. To see whether he will be able to take the position, getting himself closer and closer, but of course, no way through for that, for the moment. So he's still going to be stuck in behind as we race in the second race of the weekend. There we go, got it perfect. We got the countdown perfect, everybody. Fantastic stuff. So it is Clara leading the way, then Delaney, Nakamura, Gilter and Slater. Just for information, of course, just to give you a bit of information, Matteo Di Paolo, well, came into this as championship leader. Looks like that will be swinging back the way of Freddie Slater. So dramatic stuff and crazy stuff as well. It looks like he will be swinging the way back of Freddie Slater this moment. We make our way through in the battle. 9 minutes to go on the clock. Here in FRECA, we also of course do 1 lap beyond that as well. So the lap where it hits 0, that is the penultimate lap. And then when they come across the line with it being 0, that'll be the final lap of the race as well. Quite a lot of good racing you can expect in FRECA. This has been one of the quieter weekends, and I don't think a lot of people would have predicted, especially after last year. Monza's the one where I don't think there's any chance of it being a calm contest. It is always gloves out. Gloves off, rather. As they make their way through. 8 minutes to go. And Claro just trying to hang on to what would be a win that would mean so much to him and Van Amersfoort. It really would. For Claro, who, as it stands, would end himself getting a second win in the category. And what would be a 6th podium for him if he's able to get there. So let's see whether he will be able to get there then. As they sprint on towards the final stages of this race, taking a look at a replay of some of the other stuff that has been going on around this circuit. Just some slow views of the cars making their way through. Black and white flag for car 50, which of course being Tim Gerhard's car 41 has got a 5-second penalty. Car 19 has got a 5-second time penalty. So car number 19 of course would be Kanato Lee, and then car number 41 would of course be Alex Powell, our wildcard entry this weekend. Saying wildcard feels so weird. We're so used to that in F1 Academy as well. So it feels quite weird that we've got some wild cards coming into play in this championship. Ones that we cover, ones that I'll be covering in a week's time along with Wes at Mugello for the E4 championship, so that should be quite a lot of fun. Won't be the only bit of fun though, do not worry. Quite a lot to happen next week. As they make their way through. Oh my word, Freddie Slater nearly running into the back. Slater nearly into the back of Gilter. As meanwhile, don't tell me the teammates are going to collide. They push each other off. But you should never be getting to that level. You should never be getting to that point with your teammate especially. Does Slater have it in him to get that extra bit of points? Get that extra position. P4 is ahead of him at the moment. Reminder to you that Matteo Di Paolo a lap down now in this championship, after a lap down in this race, and it's going to have a huge effect in the championship is the words I'm trying to get out. So they try and keep it together. Meanwhile, we have also got Biren Bakdin with Bedrin, with Frankot, with Bora in behind as well. Into the first turn. They make their way through. We've got Max Johnson in start saying, good info and star, mate. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, usually, I'd probably be a little bit more energetic as well for you. But, well, I've called one of the most wildest mornings of support series racing with F3, F2, and Porsche Super Cup. F3, one of the craziest races the series has ever had. And then I've also come from hosting the Formula 1 pre-show. So, yes, quite busy at the moment, and we've had some technology issues. So we've been trying to get through everything. But yes, we at the moment find ourselves with a situation where Evan Gilter is in 4th. He had a battle with Freddie Slater in the previous round of the championship, and that was in, or rather at the start of the season, I should say, in Misano. In the second race of that weekend, he found himself in contention. Did Slater that day up against Gilter, but Gilter hanged on to take what was a win. Slater was recovering after a moment in race number 1 where he spun out of the race lead. So it wasn't the best of weekends, Misano, for Slater, but it was a great weekend for Gilter, the only win that he's managed to get across this season. Freddie Slater trying to take the wider line into Niki Lauda curve, and then trying to get on the power and seeing whether there's some momentum possibly available for him by the time that he gets down to turn number 3 on the circuit. Push to pass is also available for these drivers as well, and Slater getting himself closer and closer. Is there going to be the chance into the braking zone of turn number 3? Not at the moment. He got very close, but then the one occasion he did get close, he very nearly ran into the back of Gilter. That is what you'll be trying to avoid. I am 100% sure of it. Into the 4th turn as well. You have these 3 straight overtaking opportunities, and then a final sector, which can usually open the door to some errors, especially at this level, with all of these drivers not being the finished article, I think is the way to describe it, as well. So you are expected to see a few errors, a few extra mistakes compared to what you may see at the higher levels. And I mean, when I say higher levels, the only thing I'm really referencing is Formula 1, or like your WEC or IndyCar. The absolute top of the top, because even if you go and watch Formula 2, one of the reasons why why the morning was so chaotic was because of the amount of safety cars, F3 and F2, that they had. So, a lot of filling, a lot of talking required for that as well. So I've got the Formula 1 race on the side, by the way. I think it was only fair that I actually watched what happened at the race start in the F1, considering I hosted the pre-show. So it is the weirdest thing where you host a pre-show and then you're like, oh yeah, goodbye, I'm off to do FRECA. But no, it it makes sense for me to just have it on the side as well. Not the most classic FRECA race, I think it's fair to say. We've had some great ones, but I wouldn't say the most... it's not going to be a weekend we'll remember for a long time to come. I might remember it for the technology issues. I might remember it for what's happened at Monza, but not really for FRECA as a whole. As I mentioned, the championship usually does very well on a circuit like Monza. This car is also quite outdated, I think. I'm just going to put it bluntly. The car is very outdated, and they know it. And that is why we are changing up next year. Not only the car, but like we're also, of course, moving this over to a FREC World Cup as well type thing. The FIA are coming in, and you're going to have this category becoming properly part of that ladder. Already is. This championship is certified by FIA, but that will be ran by FIA. So that'll be the only difference for you to keep an eye on as we make our way on to what will be the penultimate lap of this race. The teammates are together. Jin Nakamura is giving chase to his teammates to see whether there's a chance to get second place. Jin Nakamura, who had a brilliant drive yesterday, having started last in the race, fought his way through, all the way through, to being a contender at the front of the field. Slater looks close as well to Gilter, so I'd like to see what's going to happen between those two drivers. Chances are running out. Slater's close. Slater is very close in behind. I think he was forcing a defensive shape. We're watching the wrong battle. Let's hope we do cut to Freddie Slater and the battle that is going on further back. Slater was definitely looking for it into turn 3. I wonder what will happen by the time they get down to turn number 4, though, in that battle. I think Gilter is just going to stay ahead for the moment. We're now looking at Pedro Claro. Gilter is still ahead. It's that moment where we're hoping to see that battle unfold, but not on this occasion. Hopefully we will get to see it on the last lap. That is what we're heading on to now. A 5-second penalty for Giovanni Maschio. Maschio in 19th as well. So he'll be just trying to bring this one home. Of course, had a big incident, if you remember back to our race in the Netherlands. So it's not been the easiest season for him. As we make our way on to the final lap of the race. And it will be Van Amersfoort's Pedro Claro, who will be on his way to take what will be the race victory. Enzo Delaney in second, and Jin Nakamura will be in third. Gilter and Slater, I mean, I'd love to tell you out of those two drivers which one it would be, but we've not got a definite answer. It is going to be a fight. It is going to be a fight all the way till the end. Aldeheri will be close as well. We're following Claro this early on the lap, but I don't think we should. I think we need to watch that battle between Slater and Aldeheri's got past. Aldeheri's got past. Aldeheri's got past Slater. We've been waiting all race to see that battle, and Slater, trying to go on the attack, has lost the position. And we're still following Claro, but there is racing going on further back. We're following Claro for this entire last lap. But it will be a special moment for Pedro Claro and Van Amersfoort here at the Red Bull Ring. They will make their way to the top step of the podium. Claro about to get down to turn number 9, to turn number 10. On the final lap, it will be car number 22 who will round turn 11 and will get to the checkered flag first. Pedro Claro with a brilliant win at the Red Bull Ring. Pedro Claro wins at Austria. Enzo Delaney is second, and Jin Nakamura takes third. Looking further back, Aldeheri got past momentarily. Slater took it back, and Slater gets fifth. Gilter was ahead in fourth, and here's a replay of the battling. Slater was down the inside, and Aldeheri sent it around the outside. They went wheel to wheel through turn number 3. Aldeheri got forced out wide, considering they're part of the same team, considering that Freddie Slater and Aldeheri, well, Freddie Slater's contending for the title. I don't think Aldeheri will have much to do about that, unfortunately. Prema wouldn't want to report or risk any penalties. Unless the stewards decide to look at it themselves, that is a different story. Okay, well, that brings the end to the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. Our coverage, I've got to get over to the F1 for some pit reporting duties as well. But congratulations to Pedro Claro on a win. Hopefully we'll have the mic issues sorted, and hopefully you will have me not tired after all of the broadcasting, and hopefully you'll have me completely well. As you can tell, somehow I've got a little bit sick after Porsche Super Cup, which is a bit annoying, but at least it happened after. Anyway, in FRECA, we've had some good racing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all back with us next round. But for now, E4 returns next weekend. That will be your action here on JB Motorsports 2 in terms of feeder series, and we hope to see you there. Goodbye.